But I was hoping to find a voucher code, but I couldn't. So I'm just gonna wait for a couple more days.
Is there anyone who
I think
find
Tunç
any
shared.
That expired.
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be ready like for the next like 2 weeks. So I didn't want to go ahead and schedule, but I think I'm gonna be okay for next week. But then I tried to use that code and it was expired. It was only good for at the end of 2020. So
2020. Oh, it is older.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. At least, like, did you guys study for the questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have two separately for 2020, 22 or 2023 winter questions. I think I just was able to look for the previous sessions questions.
Oh, you just completed the 2022.
Yeah, but it was my plan. When it is close, the time
Yeah,
I'm planning to.
I'm sure you are gonna come across lots of similar questions in 2023.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not gonna be.
I have a half of the second set still remaining. Like I have 35 questions that I haven't even looked at. But I'm thinking I will be okay by next weekend.
Okay. So as I said, like there is no rush for it, but as long as you are feeling you are good, because my criteria about being ready is when you try to do the test by yourself, if you are getting like 90%, go for it. Yeah. So whenever you feel ready, just take it out of the way, because we are going to continue more detailed stuff on the Apex side. So maybe we can say like today is 2nd. We can maybe say until 10th of January, maybe everybody can complete it, right?
That's my goal. And yeah, but I need to evaluate my performance. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned, like if I'm like under 90%, I would still give it more time to study because I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, sure. No need
So
to.
yeah, but yeah, on regular, progression, that should be the very attainable thing to do, but we'll see.
All right. Aslı and Tunç, when are you guys planning to take the exam?
I scheduled mine for this Thursday.
Thursday? Okay.
Yeah, 5th of January, but I just started today and I just like memorized first 35 questions. So I'm on really at the beginning. So I'm gonna check if I can do that before 24 hours. So I will check if I'm ready, I will go for it. And then if I'm not, I'm gonna reschedule it, like postpone it, but we'll see. But it's 5th of January for now.
Okay. At least everybody has some plan for it, right?
Yeah, so I rescheduled it to 9th on Monday. Willing to go hard on it this weekend. I already get it done 23, but I just got sick. Probably this influenza thing happened to me. I had really tough week, and trying to get ready for this week, actually.
Hopefully
And as I shared the code, that's for a reason. I want you to guys use that one until the 31st. I shared another one. It will done for this month, but my point was I tried to share this one for upcoming schedule, because you guys able to use the code and schedule the examination for future. So my goal, who already doesn't schedule for the developer exam, I think they're able to use this code for developer too, because that's my plan. I'm willing to schedule my developer examination with this code to try to get another $140 discount on it. That's gonna be my question for the Mr. Mevlut. On your schedule, I know we already changed the path, kinda, but approximately when we gonna get our developer certification exam?
So triggers, they are almost done, except the extra questions I asked from Sanjay. So after it is done, if you guys want to, I can share the questions and you guys can start studying. And what we can
But Merit, you forgot the LWC part. They're gonna continue.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm just
We can.
talking about the exam portion of it, because we don't need to wait until like completing the whole developer schedule.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, questions can be changed again. So
That's gonna be advice for everybody who able to use this code. They're able to schedule their developer exam, for example, on April. I'm talking for the future. But when you're ready, if you would like to reschedule to take it to the front, or would like to delay it for a little bit later, it's up to you guys. But because this code will expire on the 30th this month, and that's a good discount for examination. I don't want to waste it, because I'm not sure am I able to find another code in front of the year, because they mentioned they usually give in this codes and at the end of the years or something. That's why I would like to catch all this benefit on it. So probably I will schedule for somewhere between April to somewhere, and be able to work on it. That will help me for sure, for a good discount on the exam payment, for sure. Otherwise, you guys are able to take it for app developer.
Tunç, if you are talking about like the developer exam, if you are trying to schedule until April or something,
Yep.
I think it is going to be another release, and instead of winter, it is going to be spring or something. So
I got it. So my point, I like to catch the code.
Yeah,
this discount code.
For that, I have another suggestion. If everybody agree with that,
Sure.
If you guys complete admin app builder certification by 10th of January, I can try and I can share the developer dummy questions with you guys. In that way, like you guys can study and go through the exam before end of this January. Still,
Sounds good to me.
Still, we are learning the developer portion for the Salesforce, but we don't have to wait until until the last subject.
Sounds perfect for me, because that's on my mind, to schedule it to and focus on the to-do.
This is just a suggestion from me, because I noticed that your code will end of this month. So
Correct.
When the questions will change, the questions that you have maybe.
I think end of February or something.
Okay.
So maximum we have 50 days.
Yeah, our course will end like March 15.
That's the plan for now.
Yes.
Sounds good. So I'm okay with it. End of the January, let's kill the developer exam too, to see where we are, what can do. Because I think I am the latest one planned to take it on the 9th for the app builder. And then I have gonna be 20 more days to get ready for the developer. I think I can handle it. You know,
That to me, I mean, personally, it would be a lot for me to tackle because I am already like terrified about developer portion of the exam because there are a lot to cover. So I think it's going to be very hard to study, personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
But I was under the impression that that code expires on the 30th of this month. But like if you go ahead and schedule before that time, but you can schedule maybe in February and it's still
That-
valid. Is that, I mean, my logic works like that. It's not like when you pay, it's going to be valid. It's not
Okay.
like when you
Okay,
schedule your exam,
let-
right?
Let's try to do something. If you guys, Tunç, can you share the screen
sure.
and try to schedule one of the exam
Could you
for,
enable screen sharing?
yes, just a second.
Mm,
Yeah, can you try now?
Yeah, I think I got it. So this is the stuff. Let me renew it. So register for an exam. Salesforce
maybe- not that
certified
one. Platform
platform.
developer one.
This
that
one, right?
Yes.
Online proctored.
Like if we try to schedule it in February or March with that code,
Let's say
I wonder,
February.
yeah, I
before.
wonder if we are able to do that.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think.
So I'm saying like that. Selecting it. There you go.
Oh, that worked.
Okay.
That was my point. You know, I don't want to waste this coupon. You know,
Yeah.
that's my point. That's what I thought. You know, that's why I mentioned on the messages, guys. Please
Thank you
catch.
so much finding that out because I did some research. I couldn't find anything, any codes.
I
And I
believe.
did, but they were not working. They were just scams. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. You know, that's my point. You know, this is a good discount for $200.
Mhm.
And, you know, I already catched this one until 31st. I already scheduled the app builder and I already rescheduled it. But that's my point. Let me make my reservation, that kind of, you know, examination. Anyway, I'm going to take it. Let's take the discount on it. And, you know, if we need to take it upfront, I'm able to reschedule. I don't mind, you know, when I'm ready, or
Mhm,
I can,
mhm,
you know,
yeah.
update it to the future.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
you already paid and you got the chance. It's giving you a
Mhm.
chance until 72 hours to reschedule it without
Yes.
any penalty. You know,
Yeah.
that's the good point.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So maybe we can actually like take the like I I'm thinking like I'm not going to be able to take like 2 exams in January.
Okay.
I won't be able to study
It
for
is
the
fine.
second one.
It is fine in this
So do
case.
you think like February would be still okay for the questions?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm gonna like do another research about it, but maybe we can just describe something until February 15. Everybody needs to go and take it. So
Mhm.
in that way, everybody can schedule from this month,
Mhm.
pay less, like
Mhm. Yeah.
with this code. So I think it's gonna work for everyone.
Right. Yeah.
Tunç, are you gonna schedule it now?
Why not? I can schedule it. I don't mind. Anyway, I'm gonna pay it. I don't, pay attention about the date all the time because it's able to reschedule. So check out.
What date did you?
Arrange before you put your information.
No,
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Tunç, you can do it after the lesson if you want, but at least we have a code and
Yeah.
it works. We saw that. So what's gonna happen when you complete 3 exams? You are not gonna even pay 1 exam's price.
Exactly.
So that's great.
That's great. That's huge
Thank you.
saving.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's huge saving. That's important.
All right. So let me.
Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, let me share my screen. What did we do last? We just talk about the admin interview questions, and only automation portion for the admin side is remaining. When I complete the admin questions and automation questions, I'm gonna start doing interviews. So I'm gonna ask you guys to study for all these questions, what we did until now. That's why, like, sometimes maybe I'm gonna say, okay, today I'm gonna do interview with Tunç, and it's gonna take, say, half an hour. Then we are gonna continue the rest of the subject. We are gonna do this, and I'm planning to do like couple of interviews before we end this Salesforce course. So I have to do this when we complete the admin, and I need to do this interviews when we complete the developer portion also.
When did you say you're gonna start doing that? Like after we took the app builder exam? No?
I think we can start before that, but if you guys saying it's gonna be another thing to consider, we can start after January 10th. It is fine for me.
I vote for that.
Okay, sure.
Hi, me too.
Okay, so I'm not trying to confuse you guys. I'm just trying to like bring all these informations together. Otherwise, what's gonna happen? End of the course, some of you guys gonna say, okay, I need to review the interview questions. I need to review this portion, that portion. So it's gonna take some time. Instead of that, we need to catch up all these things together. Even if we are missing some stuff, then we are gonna review it and we are gonna catch the others. So that's my plan. No need to rush, but these interview questions are like, how can I say? If your knowledge is, if I say like 40%, the other 60% is like your performance on the interview. Believe me, your knowledge is not the same like value as your interviews. Because even if you know everything about the Salesforce, about the admin side and developer portion, if you cannot transfer this knowledge to the interviewer, they are not going to give you the job. But if I give the opposite example, if your knowledge is, say, for the admin portion, you trust yourself and you know, you are sure you can handle everything about the admin portion. But you are thinking about the developer portion, you need to study more about the triggers, for example. You can still cover that while you are doing the interviews. If you know your weak spot, if you prepare a few examples for that, when they ask you the question, you are just going to give them some examples. I did this one and this one. It was working like this. The logic was this. And they are going to understand the situation. Because they would like to hear from you. What did you do? Or like, how can you explain what you did? That's why, like, on the interview portion, I'm just trying to go slowly. But if you notice, I am going to the details. And when they ask you some questions, you need to give them some details. Because nobody is going to ask you like straight question, what is the field? What is the object? But they can ask you like, what is the external ID last time I asked you guys? Is there anyone who remember that? Anyone?
I remember we talked about that,
Yeah.
and it's
Just
about having a data ID when we are importing data from an outside source. They need to have an external ID in order to integrate with the Salesforce system, I guess, something like that.
Okay. How you can go there? Like how you can find it?
Yeah, we did all this. I need to check my notes.
Object manager.
Yeah, fields and relationships.
After we
Data
pick
type.
object, while we are creating any field, okay, say text, or where is my text here?
Oh yeah, there.
When they ask you a straight question, it is gonna be like this much detail. In that case, like what's happening, they are assuming you already have the knowledge about how to create a field or what's the object, that kind of stuff you already cover. And they're just asking you something specific from like very deep something. This is your like in front of you all the time, but most of the time you don't use it.
So what would be the like straightforward answer to that question in like sentence form? Like, because we won't be able to show them, like, here's the external ID checkbox.
Yeah.
How are we actually putting this in Word?
When they ask you the question, even if you don't remember like what is external ID, if you are doing migration, for example, we gave an example about the migration, right? If you are migrating some information from another system to Salesforce, you can use some unique identifier field values. That's why, like, if you are gonna use any field to make a unique identifier for your system, you can just check this checkbox. In that way, you can use that value as a unique. That's why we are using the external ID. Or even if you don't remember this portion, you can say, while we are creating any like field, after we give the name and like API name for that field, we have an option to make it a external ID. In that way, if we are like migrating or if we are using any value as a unique ID, we can just create this field as an external ID, and we can use this field to identify the values, unique values. You can like, because when they ask you external ID, you can easily remember the like record ID, right?
Yes.
In Salesforce, we have record ID, we have profile ID. These are all unique for that specific record or profile or user. This thing, if we are gonna use any unique value which is coming from the outside, that's why it says external. We are using this checkbox for that. Is there anyone who remember like what type of record level securities we have? I want you guys to talk, even if you don't remember anything, like, because sometimes you are gonna get some questions which you don't have any idea. Even in that situation, you should say something. If you don't remember or whatever you are remembering, just try to explain that one and just say in the beginning of your sentence, if I am not mistaken, or if I understand your question correctly, I understood like this, that's why I explained this.
So record level security,
Yeah.
we have OWD, organization-wide defaults, role hierarchies, sharing rule, manual sharing, and apex sharing.
Okay. So which one we are restricting the access?
OWD, they are restricting access.
Most restricted one.
So do you guys remember which one is the like bottom line, baseline of the record level security?
OWD.
Community.
And how we go through, how we adjust the OWD, what are the values for the OWD?
Private,
Public
Read.
only.
read only.
Public read write
Okay.
and public read write and translate.
Okay, good. So we should count at least these 4 or 5, okay? Because there are like 13 different values for them. Okay. And if you have a private selected on your OWD, is there any way to share that record? Or what can you do? Like,
I think only user
Owner.
who created that record can see if we set it to private.
Okay, if we set the OWD to private, the only person who can see the record is the owner of that record. That's correct. But say on the position object, you have OWD setting as a private, but you want to share your record with Aslı and Tunç and Ebru, which they are in a specific public group or something. Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we can do that from sharing settings, I guess.
Sharing rules or manual sharing as well.
Okay. All the record level security is underneath the sharing settings. Okay. And we have the OWD here, right here. So my OWD says my position is private, okay? Just think about like that. But I want to share with, like using the sharing rules. What can I do? Because these questions are gonna come through like in a scenario. That's why I'm just asking like these kind of questions. Because if I ask you what you can do with the sharing rules, you can easily say me like, I can share my records with the others, right? But if I ask you, how do you do that?
Can we use role hierarchy?
In this case, I just give an example. There are 3 persons. They are in the same public group.
Public groups.
Otherwise, you can, if according to their like role in the company.
So are we going to create a sharing rule?
Yes.
Yeah.
And sharing rules is still underneath the sharing settings after the OWD. We need to go and find our object, which is position. It's gonna be end of the objects because it is custom right here. Then what we can do, let me create new one. Okay, we talk about like this. After we gave the label and the API name, then we have 2 options. If you guys remember, I told you guys like, just remember some of the like triangle I draw here. And I said, just took some notes over it. We have 2 options. We can just make it based on the criteria we can share, or based on the owner, we can share the records. So if it is a public group, I can create a public group. If they are already having any public group, I can just assign to that public group. In that way, whoever is inside that public group, they are gonna be able to see my records. Or we can do it with the roles or roles and subordinates. So when we pick any of this, then we need to choose the public group or whatever is the role.
So if you pick the role here, would that become a role hierarchy? Or still like sharing rule?
Yeah. About the sharing rules, on the step 3, we are choosing what we are sharing. In here, we are saying we are sharing the manager's roles, records, with whom? With another role, say CEO. In this case, whoever has the COO role in the company, they are gonna be able to see and reach the records of managers. And we can describe the access level from here. The access should be read-only or read-write. If we do this, roles and subordinates, underneath this team will be able to share their records with whom? With CEO and underneath them, if I choose this. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Role hierarchies, we talk. Sharing settings, we talk. Okay. And if you get any question about the data security, it is gonna be about the OWD, most probably. Just keep in mind. All right, so since we completed the other admin portion, we are gonna go through the automation portion. For that, I know you guys didn't see anything about the workflows, but I would like to mention some stuff from the workflows. So for the workflows, from the setup, if I write down here, workflow rules, if I say continue, and I'm just trying to create a new workflow rule. What it says, it's like a warning. It says Flow Builder is the future of low-code automation. You can use it to create most of the automation found in the workflow rules. Start using the flows today. It is suggesting the flows. So, but if I insist to create workflow, this is the screen. Since it is not gonna be used anymore, but it is possible you can get some questions because of like whatever you are showing on your resume as an experience. If they ask you like, did you work with the workflow? I suggest you guys to say that I couldn't get any chance to work with the workflows. In that way, you are gonna close bunch of questions related to the workflow. If they say why, like workflow, okay, it is not in use in 2023, but in 2021, you could be able to use the workflows. In that case, you can say, we already know like the flows are the future of this automation for Salesforce. That's why in our company, instead of workflow, we use the flows. This should be the answer. In that case, you are making your questions narrowing down to flows. In that case, they are not going to ask you something about the workflows. But just in case, I try to cover a few things about the workflows. What is workflow? Workflow is a business logic that evaluates the records as they are created, updated in an object to apply the automated process. Like what? Like assigning the task, emails, field updates, and outbound messages. You don't need to memorize this, like what it looks like or this description, but you could say workflow, it is one of the automation tool Salesforce has. But it's an old technology. Instead of workflow, we are using the flows today. So what was the ability for the workflow? There were some components, okay? And these components were like workflow rules, tasks, email alerts, field updates, outbound messages. That was all workflow about. So when you come to the workflow rules and select an object, say next. ACC workflow. Okay. It is asking some evaluation criteria. If you guys remember from the flows, we were picking this stuff, right?
Yes.
Is there anyone who remember? So
I remember, yeah.
if I
I was thinking about maybe what was the outbound message?
outbound messages, they were sending some messages via text.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is flow, this is workflow. Say I'm selecting the screen flow, and from here, I'm creating a screen, I'm giving a name. And we were picking some conditions, right? Especially for the create a record element.
Can you double click to start?
I did. I think it was not screen flow, that's why.
I think it was
Trigger flow.
trigger flow, yeah.
Yeah, let me. Okay,
Mhm.
when the record is created, updated, created or updated, or deleted. What is the difference here? Created, and every time it is edited. Created and anytime it is edited to subsequently meet the criteria. You are giving the criteria here, and you are giving the criteria after you, like, if you have any criteria here. So basically, they just improve the technology, but they add some features, like if it is deleted, there is no option for the workflow. These kind of stuff was going on. So if you say, I work with the workflow, and also I know the flows, then they can ask you to like compare the workflows and flows. And it is gonna be like small difference like this one. Okay, that's why like I suggest you guys to say, I couldn't get a chance because we just focus on the feature technology. That's why we just work on the flows. They didn't suggest us to use the flows. It was already converted to flows instead of workflows. These kind of stuff. But you should know at least the ability, like what it can do with the workflows. It can create the tasks, email alerts, field updates, and outbound messages. These are the 4 actions. If you just know these 4, and if you say, I couldn't get a chance to work on that, it is gonna cover most of the thing. Because, for example, they asked me this question on the interview. So what is this exactly? I know you guys don't know the workflow, but just think about the flows. It is doing this thing. You have 2 rules and you have 2 fields, F1 and F2. Whenever F1 field is updated to value as a 10, your first workflow works and it updates the F1 field value as a 20. And F2 value as a 30. Is everything clear until now?
Yes.
Okay. Then whenever your F1 value is updated to 20, there is another workflow, which is this one. It works and it will update the F1 value as a 10, F2 value as a 20. And they are asking the outcome of it. What is the outcome for this workflow? It looks like complicated, right? And because what's happening, whenever your F1 is updated to 10, everything starts. Your first workflows works, fires, and it makes the value of the F1 as a 20. When it is 20, the workflow 2 works, and it makes the F1 value as a 10, F2 value as a 20. When F1 value turns to 10, then what's happening? F1 value fires, workflow 1 fires, and it makes 20 again. So it is like this.
Recursive.
Recursive. They would like to hear this. Recursive workflow. And if we make any workflow or any like process builder or flows like this, what's gonna happen? This will exceed the governor limit and it is gonna turn us as a result of error. When you say like it is going to cause a recursive workflow or recursive process builder or recursive flows, then the next question will be how we can avoid it. To avoid that recursive workflow, in the evaluation criteria, if you choose created and anytime it is edited to subsequent to meet the criteria option, we can avoid the recursive workflow. What does it mean? Right here. We are in the workflows. While we are creating, if we choose this one, the rule is evaluated when a record is created and when a record that doesn't meet criteria is edited to meet the criteria. Then it works. If we choose this one, we are gonna avoid the recursive workflow. Any question until now?
No.
No. And then if you do not enable reevaluate workflows after field change checkbox in the field update of a workflow, we can avoid the recursive workflow. What is that one? Okay. Say we pick this one instead of the last one, or just created, we said. And we didn't put any criteria for now. And I'm just saving this. So as I said, okay. Not equal to now. Okay. Now, if you guys notice that I put the name, I put my condition. This is just a different interface, like otherwise the logic is same with the flows. So it is asking me to add some workflow action. And these are the actions I have. If I'm doing any field update action, I'm just giving a name. This is the workflow field update. And it is asking me like which field I'm gonna update, say revenue. Now, can you guys see this? Reevaluate workflow rules after field change. What was it saying here? If we don't enable this checkbox, we are gonna avoid the recursive workflow, which is this one. If I leave it empty, then I'm not gonna go through the recursive workflow. So about the workflow, there was a bunch of questions like these deep questions. The solution is easy, but you should remember that was that much deep questions. Since when you say you couldn't get any chance to work with the workflow, you are gonna eliminate these questions. But you should know what the recursive is. Recursive, it is not a loop, but it is kind of loop. Because what's happening, if we check this scenario again, it is keep returning to 10, then it is turning to 20.
So it's like infinite loop.
Yes. First field value, when it becomes 10, then it updates the F1 to 20. The second workflow, if it is 20, it makes to 10. When it is 10, first one makes to 20. When it is 20, second workflow, it makes to 10. It is going like 10, 20, 10, 20, 10, 20. And nobody wants to get any error message like this. That's why this is one of the questions about the workflows. Otherwise, as I said, if you guys know what are the actions are, or if you just count these are, that's gonna be enough. For example, you can say, I couldn't get a chance about working about the workflow, but I know what you can do with the workflows overall, you can say. You can create some tasks, email alerts, you can do some field updates, outbound messages you can send. That's all I know. But I couldn't get a chance to do some practice on it. So, how we can go through the workflows? Just from the setup, just write down the workflow rules. You are right here. Say continue. This is one of the I created. You are putting some stuff, and then it is asking you the actions. These are the actions. It was so limited. If you compare to flows, you have nothing here. Just the email alert and task. And you can only update the fields and outbound messages. Any questions?
I'm good.
You are good? Let me show you how much more questions normally we have about this workflow. If you say you know the workflows, these are the questions you are gonna face too. I just try to pick a few of them. Okay. How do we go through the process builder? From the setup. This is another automation tool. I suggest you guys to say you couldn't get a chance to work on it. Everything, daily tasks like approvals, follow-up emails, complex process like order renewals, new hire onboarding, click new above the get started.
By the way, as you know, why you didn't see these things, because Salesforce is not gonna use on 2023, right, Mevlüt?
Yes,
They're
that's
gonna
it.
terminate this, and always they're suggesting create flow builder.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to give them overall look.
Yeah, I know. I
how-
just
how they
want to share that they are not gonna use these things.
So you were just giving the process name and it was automatically assigning it to here. And then you were picking, this is the evaluation criteria, you can say, when any record has changed, you can apply this process builder, or a platform event message is received, then this can work, or it is invoked by another process. If there's another process is going on after it is completion, then this can work. You are just selecting the condition from here. The same thing we have here, recursion for the process builder. I know it doesn't make sense to you guys right now. Because you couldn't see this stuff. Okay, I'm just giving you the ability of the process builder. Okay, right here. So you can create the records via process builder. You can update the records because on the workflow, you can only update the records. You can do the post on the chatter. Do you guys remember the chatter, right?
Yes.
Okay. You can create a quick action, like global actions. And do you guys remember that stuff?
Yes, like a quickest way to add an account or something through the just clickable button.
Okay. And where was that button?
Right next to the gear icon on the main page, home page.
Okay. And while you are using the process builder, you can launch or you can trigger any flow. This is something new if you compare with the workflows, because the oldest technology is workflow, then process builder, then flows. Right now on the flows, you can do all these things, whatever you can do with the workflows and process builder. For example, you are triggering another flow, right? If you guys remember, we did an example for this with Sanjay.
No.
While we are using the flows. For the quick action, like what we did, we created the flows and then
Implemented
we
on
need that
application.
flow to start with that quick action. Updating records and creating records, we already do that. Posting on the chatter, we can do that with the flows. So they were like limited capability to do some stuff. When they improve it, they gave another name. They just said it's going to be flows. No more process builder, no more workflow rules. Submitting the record automatically for approval. This is the approval process. For example, we are working with Tunç. Tunç is my manager, and I would like to go to a vacation. And according to the business process, I need to get an approval before I go to any vacation. In that way, what's happening, the managers can see who is going where or who is gonna be absent next week, right? So at the same time, you are gonna be relieved. You are gonna say, at least my manager is aware I'm gonna be on vacation next week. So this is the approval process for you can do with the process builder. Another thing which workflow cannot do this. If you guys notice that, I'm just comparing what were the capabilities for the workflows and process builder. You can call or you can use trigger any Apex code by using the process builder. The last feature, we can say invoking another process. This action will actually invoke a process to another process. And one more thing about the process builder. When calling an Apex class from a process builder, this was like perfect question for the interviews while they were asking about the process builder, because one of the feature of the process builder, it is we can call the Apex code from the process builder, right? How we can do that? Only classes that have invocable method annotation, they will be having, in that way you can use the process builder to reach the or call the Apex class. For that, method should be static and public or global. A class can only have one method which has this annotation, invocable method annotation. Cannot use another annotations with this method. And this invocable method can have only one parameter. You guys remember, right? After we write down any method, inside the parentheses, we are putting some parameters.
Yes.
This can have only one parameter. So this one was like one of the fixed question when they would like to ask some detailed information about the admin side. Still, these are like admin questions, but it is related to the automation without coding. So it is mentioning here the recursion here again, but we already talked about it, so I'm not gonna go details on this. But I am gonna give you guys this one and the feature of the process builder here. At least you should write it down somewhere. Okay, you can keep it. And if you come across any question about these are, the first suggestion is say you couldn't get any chance to work on that or practice on workflow or process builder because flows was the new technology. That's why we focus on the flows. But overall, I have a knowledge. It was like limited features we can do with the process builder. I remember a few of them, like creating a records, updating records, or like calling an Apex code. And I remember to call an Apex code from the process builder, the method should be invocable method. And you can just put only one parameter inside, that kind of stuff. So I'm not gonna go through the flows today. Do you guys have any question?
No,
No? Can I ask a few questions, right?
anytime.
Okay. What is the profile and permission set difference? Just keep talking, just say something. Whatever you remember.
Profiles on object level.
That's correct.
Yeah, in object level access, like generally permissions, CRUD or CRID profiles, whatever is covering the object level security, it's under the profiles.
What about permission set?
The permission sets too, with the object level security.
Then what is the difference?
Profiles are restricting the access.
Okay.
Permission sets are giving access to some tools and functions.
Profile we are using
Perfect.
restrict what user can see with permission sets. Permission sets define what user can do. I think we can explain like this.
That's correct also. Okay, so with the permission set, we can give extra permission. We cannot restrict anything, right? For the profile, we are just restricting. They are not the same thing, but I'm just giving you a clue to compare them to understand it. For example, for the record level, where is that? Yeah, right here. For the record level security, we said we have OWD, role hierarchies, sharing rules, manual sharing, and Apex sharing. And if you remember, while I was explaining on the last lesson before we go to the winter break, so I was saying that you can think about the OWD is like the profile, it is just restricting. And it is the bottom line. So you cannot have any records. It is more restricted than the OWD because this is the bottom. Like profile is same thing. You cannot have any other profile, like any other object level security, which is more restricted than profile. But you can expand that access with the permission set. So you can just think like for the role hierarchy, sharing rules, and manual sharing, these are like the permission sets. They are just giving extra permissions. They are not restricting anything. They are just opening up. All right. So you already completed CRUD. With the sharing rules, what we can give, like what kind of access we can provide.
It is based on criteria you showed us.
Okay, but it is not the thing I'm asking.
You mean the public hierarchy thing?
No, like for the sharing rules, we have two types of like what kind of sharing rules we are gonna do. There are two types of it. One of them based on the owner of that record. The other one is according to the criteria. You can just modify the criteria. Then the access level is here. Read only or read write. Only two of them. Like I asked another question and I said like, what should be the values for the OWD, right? They are access level also, private, public read only, public read write transfer. For the sharing rules, it is read only, read write. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. But these are like the questions when somebody asks us, when you close your eyes, you cannot imagine everything together. That's why like I keep asking these questions again and again. And I want you guys to remember this one as an overall data security. And also this one. This is just for the record level security. And this one is also overall. So if you check here, there are objects. You can adjust the object level security for that objects. And you can restrict some of the objects here. Because it says there's no access on this for the offer object. But for the field level security, where do we adjust the field level security?
Profiles.
From the profiles, that's correct. We can restrict some of the fields instead of object. For example, this user can reach the candidate object, but he cannot reach the home phone field. When it comes to the record level security, what we can do with the OWD, we can make it private, public read only, public read write, or etc. Then can we do any exception on this record level security on the OWD? Yes, like a permission sets, we can give extra access while we are using the role hierarchy, sharing rules, or manual sharing. I didn't ask anything about the manual sharing because that is the easy one. Right? Can you guys guide me to the manual sharing? This is the last question, then I'm gonna give you some break before the Salesforce test.
You need to reach an object.
Okay.
And you need to click one of your record, I think, or no, under that arrow.
This one?
No. Can you?
You mean this one?
No.
I can click all the arrows.
Let me.
Sorry, what are we trying to do now?
Manual
It's one of
sharing.
the positions, like the top one maybe, the trigger use case 4.
This one.
Yes.
So you want to go,
Inside the
okay.
And now if we go to that arrow and
Yeah.
go sharing, we have to
And-
pick the user and access level.
So we can choose the user here. We can choose the public group, role, or role and subordinates. This is for the manual sharing. If you remember the sharing rules, it was only public group, role and subordinates. For the manual sharing, you have one more thing, specific user you can pick on the manual sharing. When you do that, then you can adjust the access. Access are same with the sharing rules, read only or read write. If I were you guys, I can just put that small stuff top of this graphic. I can just make an arrow, 2 different arrows, and I can say access level is read only, read write. Access level, read write, read only. And like by the owner for this one, you can do it by owner or you can do it according to the criteria. By the owner, I can divide it to 3 pieces: roles and subordinates, public groups. I can just divide this one to 4. I can say user, roles and subordinates, and public groups. In that way, you can see everything related to the record level security all together. That is my suggestion. It is totally up to you guys. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes before joining to the Salesforce class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you.
By the way, could you share the questions with us with the data security part?
I think I already shared, but I can share again.
If it's possible, that will be great.
Yeah, sure.